Okay, I think I've got this sorted. Maybe. All right, I'm gonna keep fiddling with this and hope that the ridiculous way I have that rigged up doesn't completely fall over. Oh, God. Someday this will not be an absolute mess of me fiddling with the camera for the first chunk of it. Someday. But not today. Oh boy. The lighting is killing me for this setup. Hang on, let me try something. It's gonna be this for the opening bit. Sorry in advance. That's really dark. Oh goodness. What if I do that? Is that better? That's gonna have to do. Hey everybody! This has been a bit of a day for me. Hello from Britain. Hello to you. It's been a long time. Well, it's been about 2 weeks. Excuse me. So, yes. Happy Pride Month. Oh, I knew I was missing something. There we go. I couldn't figure out why I felt naked for a second. So yeah, I really went back and forth on a theme for this one, and because like there's just so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Actually, Carowin, my mod, gave me this. The lighting in here sucks, so you can't quite tell, but it is full rainbow. It is a pride bandana. But you know, with everything going on, I didn't know if having it be pride themed felt like it was diverting attention from things that needed it more, and I didn't know, but I also didn't know how much I should be talking about other stuff, because you know I said previously mine is not the voice to be listening to with a lot of these things, but I'm just gonna wing it. It's the best I can do. I just got my new eyeglasses that have rainbows on the edges of the frames. Ooh, love it. Hey there, Cara from Ireland. Yes, I know, and I love it. Love the bow. I may not be a member of the LGBTQ community, but happy Pride Month. Thank you. I'm watching on 2 devices. One of you must be a ganger. But which one? You should be respectful of both. Your bandana's so pretty, so are your glasses. Thank you very much. So yeah, with everything that is going on, and honestly, particularly right now in regards to just even LGBTQ stuff, it's been a bit of a roller coaster in just the last week or so. Of all seasons of Shiraz and Princesses of Power, which one do you think was the best written? Probably season 5. Like, I just admire the writing on that for being able to wrap everything up as well as they did. But, you know, even just looking specifically at the LGBTQ plus things, at least for the moment, you know, we had back-to-back the Trump administration finalizing its update to guidelines, which allows for the denial of medical services to trans people, which, you know, the whole thing there, it's funny. I told that to my mother, you know, who was a nurse. Her entire working life, she was a nurse. And her immediate thought was, why would any medical professional ever do that? Because in her view, that should never even be a consideration, that a medical professional would deny treatment or care to somebody for any reason, much less for that reason. So, but the thing is that, as much as that sucked, that wasn't news to me. Like, he's been signaling that he was going to do this for 2 years, and it seemed like the finalization of it caught a lot of people off guard. A month ago, they signaled that they were planning to still go through this in the middle of a pandemic when a lot of people are needing health care. Nice timing. So, you know, I knew, and I sort of had my, I guess, did my mourning on that issue a while back. But I know a lot of trans people who, you know, didn't realize that the finalization was coming down right now. And so I know that hit a lot of people hard. But then almost immediately after, we have the ruling from the Supreme Court, which is such an important ruling. Like, let's be really clear about something. It does not suddenly mean that trans and LGBTQ plus people of all stripes are suddenly all set and cared for and they're protected and we did it, yay! No, well, no. No, it's only specifically in the areas of jobs, and it's now not legal to discriminate against people who are non-heterosexual or non-cisgender, whatever variants they may be in either area, to be either rejected from a job or dismissed from a job because of those facts about them. It doesn't mean it won't still happen. This is something that I talked about a couple of years ago on the Vera Wild channel. Just because there are reasons they're not allowed to do it doesn't mean they won't. Plenty of businesses will still discriminate on that basis. The thing is, it's actually incredibly hard to prove discrimination because you basically need a paper trail proving that the reason you were fired was a reason that they're not allowed to fire you for. So just using myself, if the people at my job, the people in charge of deciding whether or not I stay there, decided that they didn't want me there, they can't just call me into the office and say, well, you're clearly non-gender conforming, we don't know what's going on, we don't like it, pack your bags. Like that, they can't do. What they can do is like go through everything I've ever done to see if anything I've ever done is a dismissible offense, see if it's been overlooked in the past. They can make adjustments to the expectations so that I'm no longer meeting them, so I could be dismissed on failing to do the job correctly basis. They can simply eliminate my job. Like, if they cut the position and don't hire for it again, that's not a firing, that's a downsizing. That's completely different. So the simple fact is, and my daughter's mother was in HR, so I know all the inside tricks on this. If they want to get rid of you because you're trans or gay, they will. They just won't say that that's the reason they're doing it unless they're incredibly stupid. None of that is to undermine the importance of this ruling, because these kinds of basic protections, if those aren't even there, trying to push for any further progress is so hard because you're standing on virtually no foundation. We have much stronger foundation to stand on now. And that's a big deal. A whole bunch of comments have come through, plus a super chat, so I'm going to try and catch up real quick. Let's see, had it a second ago. If the doctor generated into a chicken nugget, would their companion be ketchup or barbecue sauce? Well, it depends on whether you want an ideal companion pairing or an adversarial companion pairing. Depends on what kind of thing you're going for, doesn't it? I would pair them with barbecue, though. If you would be any Doctor Who character, you'd be Strax. Mainly because you've gender spliced yourself for all nursing needs. Well, I can't. I am capable of providing immense quantities of lactational fluid. I think that grab's probably going to get me demonetized now, but I couldn't resist. Oh, that makes me happy. The guy playing the villain in Coronavirus US was hammy. He seemed to be doing a weird voice to try and make his dialogue sound more natural, but I also heard he was from Kenya. So I should probably explain that comment. So the video went up today on Stu Bagful's channel. If you don't subscribe to him already, you should. He's great and amazing and hilarious and delightfully dark. He, a year, 2 years ago, he did this thing talking about Brexit, where he talked about it as if it was a TV show. And he talked about, you know, how the writers seem to have lost the thread of where they were going, and they're replacing all these characters all the time, and who the heck is this person, and oh, maybe they're gonna fix, no, they're just gonna stretch this out. And he did something similar with coronavirus. That video went out today, and I do feature in that briefly, because he talks about the UK series Coronavirus, and I talk about the American version, which, true to American remakes by their nature, is grander in scale and much, much dumber. So that is up today. That's what that comment was in reference to, and I would recommend you check that thing out because it's hilarious. Let's see. A friend of mine is studying to be a nurse and said he has classmates who ask, what if we don't agree with their lifestyle? And the professor says, find a new profession. Yes to that professor. Like, for God's sake. Which is the better band in your opinion, Radiohead or Oasis? I only know a couple of songs from either one of them, so I don't know. Sorry. I'm a bad person to ask about music preferences, because first of all, my tastes are all over the place, and I'm like not versed. Like, there's so many things that people are like, oh, you heard this? I'm like, I don't know what that is, and I get the looks of, that happens to me a lot. Weird question. Don't worry, you're at home. You're home here. But I'm from the UK. We don't pay for our medical care. In America, you do. How much does it cost if you were to go to the hospital? E.g., you broke your arm. Well, so I shall attempt to briefly summarize a very complicated and broken medical system. So we don't have universal health care in America. What we have is we have an insurance situation where if you need any medical treatment of any kind, you are either paying for the entire cost completely out of pocket, which I'll come back to that, or you're paying for it through your insurance, which usually means you have, oh God, there's all sorts of things. There's deductibles, there's premiums. Basically, insurance is a way that you pay some amount for your care, but your insurance company picks up the rest of it. And what your insurance costs run will vary, because not all insurers will cover all procedures, and some they'll cover more fully than others. So even that is a hodgepodge, but just generally speaking, if you have insurance, then that is picking up some of your medical costs. The vast majority of Americans have insurance through their job, which, as the point is being made right now, as so many people are out of work due to coronavirus, having your ability to be able to get healthcare tied to the fact that you're employed is actually really kind of stupid. It is possible to get health insurance outside of being employed, but it is more expensive to do so. Getting insurance through your employer is much more affordable. So if you go to the hospital and you don't have insurance, then you have to pay out of pocket for everything. If you need to take an ambulance, you have to pay for that. If you are admitted to the emergency room, that is the cost right there before anyone even sees you, before there are even procedures or anything else done. These costs add up really, really quick, to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars for something as simple as a broken bone. Part of the reason for that is actually the fault of the insurance scheme that we have, because, I'm trying to think of the way to explain this. Prices are jacked up because insurance has deeper pockets than consumers do. So the prices for all these procedures are actually jacked up quite high. Now, insurance companies will actually negotiate with hospitals to bring them a little bit lower, That's a whole other thing that I don't know a ton about. But that starting level, that on paper what the procedure costs, is intentionally jacked up to either give bargaining power against the insurance company, or to actually dig into their deep pockets, because insurance companies can afford a lot more. But because you are not allowed to, outside of contracts that are signed and things like that, just simply offer someone the same thing at a different price than someone else, because that's price fixing. If you go in as a person without insurance, you are paying that top line price, the unnegotiated, not covered by insurance, intentionally jacked up price. Like I said, tens of thousands is really typical. When we lived in New York, I had one occasion, I don't want to talk about the circumstances, but I had one occasion in which I ended up having to pay for a ambulance trip that was not covered by the insurance. We needed an ambulance and it wasn't covered. That ambulance, that ride in the ambulance to the hospital, which was less than a mile away, was $3,000. So, there you go. It's broken. The system is very, 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 very broken. Thank you for your openness. Well, first of all, thank you, Nightmares. That's incredibly generous. So thank you right off the bat. Part of the reason I'm out with two of my friends, is my openness. Whoa, totes, thank you. I figured out last month I'm LGBTQ, basically by gender confusion. But I don't know, probably not proper terms, but I'm me and totes strange. See, here's the thing. Just realizing that you're not straight and or cisgender, that's a starting point. You don't have to figure out what you are yet. You figured out, well, I'm not this. Now you can start exploring and figuring out what you are. And with any luck, that'll be a wonderful journey. I hope it is for you. I really, really, really do. If I'm correct, there's an election. Oh, I lost it. Hang on, back it up. Lots of questions that I have fallen so far back on because I've I've gone on long rambles here. If I'm correct, there's an election in the U.S. this November. I say if Trump gets voted out, that would be a great way to end what's otherwise been a really crappy year. I mean, look, hell, look at me. It shouldn't be a huge shock that I am not a Trump fan. But the thing is, getting him out, while important, that would be a nice note. It's a big part of things like Black Lives Matter and why I've now kind of gone off on healthcare and on the Supreme Court ruling is that these problems are systemic. They are baked into the system. And while Trump has exacerbated virtually every problem that this nation already had, the problems were still pre-existing. There's lots of things that as a society, as a nation, we have either failed to account for or have just let go unaddressed. And some of those things, it's not just a matter of people aren't being assisted, people are being actively harmed. And we've let these systems in place for a long, long, long time. These are systems that a lot of us benefit in some way from. As a white person, I benefit from systemic racism. And that's something I'm working through. Because it has to change. It's, yeah. I've graduated college with an associate's degree in communication and a minor in writing. Oh, congratulations, Connor! Oh, so I wasn't completely distracting you whenever you were You were on the live stream doing homework. Great, that's wonderful to hear. Imagine the Master Doctor. Oh, jeez. I think this year's Pride makes it 5 years for me to be out of the closet. Oh, that's nice. See, I never know how to gauge how long I've been out of the closet because I don't know what date to go by, because there was, when I first came out to anybody, there's when I came out to my mother, there's when I came out to close friends, there's when I came out publicly on this channel, there's when I came out on all other social media, there's when I still haven't really come out at work, but I've stopped presenting as cisgender at work, and these are all different dates, some of them years apart. It'd be nice to have one date to be able to celebrate as an anniversary. I love how Riley's wife in Buffy is practically Ace Rimmer given how the other characters act around her. Oh God, I have not seen that episode forever. I barely remember her. Huh. I look away for 1 second and you grab your boob. That's what you get for not paying attention. I had this idea that somewhere in the past there must have been a doctor who was only the doctor for all of 5 minutes. It could be a fun one-off episode. Well, they did that. It was called Curse of the Fatal Death. And granted, it was done for comedy, but still. Sad thing is, I am only drinking water. Do you watch Sailor Moon? I caught a couple of episodes back in the 90s, but no. Do you miss Vine? I kind of do. Yeah, I did like Vine. I miss Tumblr too. It's technically still around, but let's be honest. It ain't the same. It's not as much fun. Thank you very much, Randomness. No one talks about Brexit anymore thanks to Corona. Well, that's been kind of the thing. All these things, they keep drowning out things that are still problems but haven't gone away because something bigger came, or either bigger or more immediate. We were all talking about the wildfires in Australia, and then we had coronavirus, and we had murder hornets for a hot second, and then people got over that. And then in the US, we have the resurgence of Black Lives Matter in the wake of more further truly atrocious events from the police. And I know things kicked off with George Floyd, but I don't. It's not like we hadn't known about the problem before George Floyd, and it's not like there weren't other things that had already gone on. Breonna Taylor was weeks, maybe even a month before him, and so many people. And then that became the big news because the police decided the best way to handle protests against police brutality was to unleash brutal tactics on protesters. Yeah, that makes sense. So now that's the news, but of course Corona hasn't gone away. The murder hornets haven't gone away. The news cycle changes. What the news is talking about changes, but just because they stop talking about something doesn't mean it's gone, which is the depressing thing. After rewatching Shiraz season 3, I caught that Micah in the alternate reality right before he disappeared tried to tell Angela he was still alive in the main reality. That hurt. Yeah, I had caught that, but I hadn't been prepared to believe that was what he was saying. But I did know some people, early on claiming that was what he was trying to say. So, yeah. But if you're catching that for the first time, that's kind of cool. Is Chris Chibnall the George Lucas or the Rian Johnson of Doctor Who? Neither. He's the Chris Chibnall of Doctor Who. We don't have to compare to look, I don't think anyone is capable of being the George Lucas. You can't be the George Lucas of something if it predates your involvement. Like, the reason George Lucas is the George Lucas of Star Wars is because he created it. Nobody ever would have let anybody other than the original creator of this stuff do what he did with Star Wars. Like, let's be honest about that. And comparing to Rian Johnson doesn't seem right either, just because I'm going to do a video about this at some point, talking about Rian Johnson's whole body of work. Because what Rian Johnson is, by his nature, so far as I can tell, is a deconstructionist. And as much as Chibnall is shaking up, especially in this last series, Doctor Who, like it or not, he's doing some bold stuff. None of it's particularly deconstructionist. It's not forcing you to alter your... Like, a retcon is not the same as a deconstruction. He's retconning all to heck, but he's not deconstructing the work, the show, the genre. So, and neither comparison holds up. Chicken Run is turning 20 tomorrow. I saw that in the theaters, and now I feel old. What are your favorite bands and acts? I'm also really all over the place with music taste. Weird Al, Pink. I like Lindsey Sterling a lot. I was on Blind Guardian for a while. I kind of eased off them. They started to dip back into their power metal roots, and I'm like, pass. I think those are the ones that I have followed the longest, even if I dropped off. Jaws is turning 45 on Sunday. Oh, well, see, that's fine, because that's older than I am. Although I have seen Jaws in a movie theater. It was one of those sort of boutique theaters that shows older movies. I went and saw Jaws, and that was actually a lot of fun, because Jaws is a movie that I know so well. I have it memorized. I could recite the whole dang thing for you. But the audience, some of them either had never seen it at all, but and a bunch of the rest of them clearly hadn't seen it in a long time. So I knew when the jump scares were coming. I just got to sit back, watch the entire audience collectively. Blah! Oh, it's great. Oh, that's so much fun. Did some publicity work for you. Mentioned Council of Geeks on a live stream for Kim Nano Sounds Richards of the Yodcast. Checking the mail. We'll see if it pans out. And then yes, we can talk about a promotional fee. Do you have Disney Plus? I do not. I am really trying to keep my my expenses down these days. $3,000 for a bloody ambulance? Yeah, I know, right? Boy, that's how far back I am. Jeez, Buffy is the timeless child. Oh God. Let me explain. She starts as the one, then another gets the power through her, and finally the power is given to all the others that could get it. Maybe. I know you're only citing that to get a rise out of me. I see you. I know what you're doing. It's fine because it's good-natured, but oh God, I'm so far behind. Holy cow. I might have to jump further down and give up on trying to catch up on questions. For me, it's a case of not really feeling gender at all, but not having any need to change my default presentation. Valid. Completely valid. You're not the first person I've ever heard say that either. So, valid, and you're not the only one. So, I just hit 1,000 on Insta. Woo! Very cool. I'm at like 1,500 on the Vera Wild Instagram. I can't remember what the Council of Geeks Instagram is. I update it very sporadically. Also, identifying as straight feels wrong when dating a non-binary person. Yeah, that's a tricky thing, and that's something that I myself don't always know how to parse. When the question comes up for me, like, are you gay or are you straight? Like, well, you're talking to someone with a fluid sense of gender. So, you know, that's some of the problems with the language that we use. The terms gay and straight not only describe who you are attracted to, but also who you are. Because straight means attracted to the just forgive the outdated language on this, roll with me, attracted to the opposing gender, and gay means attracted to the same gender. But you have to know what gender you are for either of those terms to have any meaning. So if you either have a fluctuating sense of gender, which I do, or you have a sense of gender that doesn't fit the binary, where there are clear and opposing genders for you to say you're either the same or the opposite to, then the terms gay and straight kind of break down a bit. So yeah, that's a problem that I have. Like I tend to leave it at my partner's a woman. So whether that means you consider me straight or pansexual or I'll actually usually say pansexual, because even though my attraction is heavily lean, feminine or feminine presenting, yes, that includes trans women. Trans women are women. I do have attractions that can go other ways, but so for me, I guess in a way I'm fortunate, because I can take the term pansexual, which does not have to confirm my own sense of gender in order to be used. But if that's not the case for you, if you have clearer attractions, then yeah, the language falls apart. You don't do fan theories, but here's one for Black Mirror. Okay. Metalhead and 15 Million Marriage take place at the same time. The robot dogs are hunting people who rejected that society. Maybe. I wouldn't feel the need to connect the dots on any of those, but yeah, as a headcanon it works, sure. Non-essential shops finally reopening here in the UK. So yesterday, bought The Office, Elementary, 30 Rock, How I Met Your Mother, and first 3 seasons of The Good Place. Well, you are all set for a bit now, aren't you, Rowan? Okay, so imagine a classic Who companion meets a new Who companion. Who would you want? I feel like Ace meeting Bill would be cool. That would be cool. I mean, my immediate default is Jamie and Donna, just because, favorite classic companion, favorite new Who companion. So that's where my brain immediately went. 2020 has been the real-life equivalent of Hellbent. Oh. God, I hope not, because that thing just got worse and worse and worse towards the end. You need to find me a comparison where the front half of it has all the worst stuff in it. Ever see Japanese Spider-Man? I haven't. I know of it. I know what it is. I haven't seen it. If not, it's basically if Peter Parker had the infected blood of an alien from the planet Spider, and then Uncle Ben told him to become the Punisher. Yes, I'm aware of it. There's also Turkish Spider-Man, I think. You know how I wanted certain doctors to be in Shiraz? Now I want Missy to enact a scheme with Catra and 12 to give Adora advice about it. Just lock her up in a vault. Nice. Anyone else realize the UK's corona level chart is actually telling us the level of spice at Nando's? Thank you very much for reflective rambling. I appreciate that greatly. Simply because no one tells you that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved enough. And to pay royalties for putting that on my work chalkboard 1 week in case someone else needed to see it. Oh. Thank you. That was really nice. Do you think Ace is gay or bi? The writers wanted her to be gay but couldn't do that, so they hinted, which made lots of fans think bi. Either one works. I could buy either one. Not to mention a mining company in Wales drilled into a humanoid lizard colony. Don't you hate when that happens? What are your thoughts on Gem and the holograms? I know it's a thing that existed. That is my thought. Really not sure whether I'm straight or bi. My mom and sister, who's gay, said it'd be more obvious later in life. Will I have one clarifying moment, or does it happen gradually? I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. For me, it's usually been a gradual realization, and then like most of the steps in, say, my gender journey and my sexuality, it's not a moment of clarity. It's not a bolt out of the blue. What it is a slow realization, and then a looking back and going, yeah, I really should have figured this out a heck of a lot sooner because all the signs were there. What the hell's wrong with me? And, you know, not like because I'm different, but because like you look at stuff in hindsight and it's like, duh. That sort of thing that happens. Just finished Hunters on Amazon. It's water, I promise. Amazon Prime, have you watched Hunters? I have not. Thoughts on Andrew Cartmel himself saying that the Timeless Child depleted the mystery of Doctor Who. That's the funniest thing to come out of 2020, to be honest. See, I think he actually has a point. I'm not sure if I agree. For my money, the Timeless Child makes the dog... I've seen people claim... Okay. Timeless Child. Have not actually really truly talked about this in a while. Okay. I've seen plenty of people claim that the Timeless Child brought back an air of mystery to the Doctor. I disagree fundamentally. I think that the Timeless Child is mystery neutral. And here's why. It deleted a mystery and replaced it with a different one. So before, the mystery was we literally had no idea whatsoever anything that ever happened in the Doctor's life prior to when the show started. And he was found in that junkyard by Ian and Barbara with Susan. So the mystery was fairly all-encompassing. Who he was, what he did. I mean, we know he knew the Master. That's about it. We don't know really why he fled Gallifrey, why he took Susan with him, what he did in his life, his place in that society. We get little hints, but like, there's plenty of mystery there, stuff that we don't know. That's now gone. Because now the answer is, well, he never had a normal function. He, they, she, however the Doctor was. I was saying he because in my mind I was thinking Hartnell. So that was why male pronouns were in my head. So they now never had a normal function in Time Lord society. They were always something special. What they were and where they came from is now the mystery, but it's wiped out that original mystery of not knowing the Doctor's background prior to when we started following the character in the show. So for my money, it's mystery neutral. You took away one and replaced it with another, which is part of why my ultimate feeling about the Timeless Child, at least as of right now, until we see the show do some more with it, is for me to go, what was the point? I just want to thank you for your Problematic Authors video. It helped put me at ease about a project I'm working on. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That turned out better than I thought it would, especially considering I didn't script it. That made me nervous because I remember thinking maybe this is something I should script. But it came out all right. If you like comedy, I recommend Ninja Sex Party. I feel like I've seen some of their stuff, but I can't remember now. How are you? Sorry if I'm late. No worries. Oh, God. Backing up. Wow. Jeez, I'm so far behind. I've seen people queue for McDonald's in the UK with camels. We are a strange country. Okay. Not even sure I don't know how to parse that sentence. Pretty sure I heard something about a chicken run too. Well, if they do it, I'm pretty sure they won't have Mel Gibson in it. I saw Last Crusade for the first time in theaters a couple of years ago in the cinema. I legit gasped at the leap of faith scene. Nice! That's cool. I swear every time someone mentions the Timeless Child, your groan gets louder and more intense. That is a distinct possibility. Me, here's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh my God, Daphne from the Scooby-Doo movie that CGI's cleavage out is a vampire slayer. Oh, good grief. Tomorrow is Jodie Whittaker's birthday. Oh, that's nice. Wasn't trying to get a rise, just seemed similar. I didn't know where. Like I'm ribbing you back. It's meant to be playful. Who are your favorite LGBTQI characters in sci-fi? I know it's a loaded question. Oh, jeez. Off the top of my head, I honestly don't know. I mean, probably Jack, Jack Harkness. Inara from Firefly. Put her on there. The thing is, I have a hard time narrowing down a ton that are confirmed as LGBTQ plus in some variety, that aren't simply alien races, and I don't like to count those because I'm not a huge fan of the let's take a marginalized group and make them allegorically alien. So I don't like to count that. Those are the only two that came off the top of my head. Somebody will probably shout in the chat a much better idea. I totes would kind of enjoy a deconstruction approach to Doctor Who, which might turn things on its head and create cool situations, maybe for an episode, if not whole seasons. I'm very wary. God, I'm not drunk. Wary of deconstruction within the canon narrative of a piece. That, at the end of the day, is why I think so many people took so harshly to The Last Jedi. It's not that it's bad deconstruction. It's perfectly good deconstruction. But by its nature, when you deconstruct something, you break it and you take it apart. And if you bother to reassemble it at all, it's not going to be the same thing anymore. And the best deconstructionist work are usually dealing with pastiches, or at the very least are out of continuity if it's an ongoing thing. They tried to deconstruct Star Wars within the primary Star Wars franchise. I think that was a mistake. Not that you can't deconstruct it, but you're breaking it in the thing that you are doing. So like Watchmen's a massive deconstruction. And Alan Moore wanted to do that story with existing characters. And DC wouldn't let him because they knew that what he planned to do would ruin those characters. And they could never use them any other way again. So they didn't let him, and he had to create his own versions. The Dark Knight Returns is a deconstruction sent in a future, so it's separate from the continuity, so it doesn't break Batman as we know him. Red Sun, same thing for Superman. Plus, things like Supreme and all sorts of things. Deconstruction is best done as a pastiche of some kind. And I would actually say that's the same of Ryan Johnson's work prior to The Last Jedi, because Brick is a deconstruction of noir tropes. Brothers Bloom is a deconstruction of con and heist movies. And Looper is a deconstruction of time travel movies. Knives Out is a deconstruction of whodunit movies. But none of those had any kind of backlash because he was deconstructing tropes as opposed to specific characters that people know and love. See what I mean? I might have to give up trying to catch up because I keep giving these long-winded answers. Been back at work at KFC for a while now, but we only accept cards and people give us grief when they only have cash. Who doesn't carry cards in this crisis? I like almost never have cash. If I have cash, it's because somebody handed me cash. So like after burlesque shows, I have cash. Basically. Lots of singles. Few fives. There was a short release recently where Bill and Nardole send letters to each other that was pretty nice. I need to catch up on the Doctor Who Lockdown channel. I've seen some of it. I really need to watch the rest of it and do a video on it. Quite an outsider to Doctor Who, but I kind of think they might go for an all just a dream plot twist, actively yeeting Moffat's era out of canon. I can't imagine anyone would be stupid enough to think of that or to greenlight it. Because the nature of Doctor Who, there's no need to retcon out what previous showrunners have done. Because just ignore it and move forward and do your own thing. I don't want anybody's time running Doctor Who to be spent tying up the previous person's mess. Just ignore it and move forward. Forget Hellbent. I think the U.S. specifically might be headed for no man's land. If only we had an actual Batman. Yeah. Was wondering if a debate-style vid appealed to you at all at the moment. Thought the vid with Crispy was really cool, and there's not exactly a shortage of issues to debate right now. Within very specific parameters. So, like, something like what I did with Crispy, which was a very fan-centric debate about, you know, about the product. And it wasn't a debate about the fandom. It wasn't a debate about, you know, future directions for the show. Okay, let me put it this way. I have there are people, there are YouTubers who have very diametrically opposed views to me on a lot of things, be they Doctor Who or be they the very existence of somebody like me. And people who have those harshly divided, you know, have drawn a line in the sand and shout about anyone who disagrees with them, style YouTubers who are on the other side of these issues, I have absolutely no interest in debating because I see no good that comes out of that. I'd be more than happy to have conversations with any number of them. Off mic, not recorded, no audience, but not debate videos, no. I just watched The Snowman. My God, do I ship Jenny and Vastra. They are cute, aren't they? Grandson, what did you do during the coronavirus? Granddad, what did you do during the coronavirus, Granddad? Were you an essential worker? Me. To be honest, kid, I was drunk for most of it. That's essential. That's been essential to get through this. That's how ADHD was for me, kind of like David Dunn in Unbreakable, looking back on everything and being like, holy crap, how did I miss that? Problem is sexuality is never diagnosed. Well, not professionally, anyways. Sexuality is a self-diagnosed condition. I'm bi and Newt Scamander was my sexuality catalyst back in 2017. And then I watched stuff like Captain America movies and 11th Doctor stories, and then it clicked and I was like, oh. Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Vera, it's water, I swear. Me behind my keyboard, you bloody liar. What? Don't you trust me? Okay, I think I am going to have to jump. I need to jump down to the bottom and give up trying to catch up through these questions because I have failed. I need to accept that I have failed at this. I got to back up real quick. I think, yes, I caught all the super chats. All right, so if somebody asked a question that I missed, I'm sorry, I need to jump down to the bottom because we're now in the last 10 minutes or so, and I'm not going to catch up. I really like The Timeless Child, but I feel like Chibnall should have just said The Timeless Child was Rassilon because he actually had infinite regenerations. Totes confused me. Yeah, I can't right now. I blame Basil Baker Street for making me a gay furry. Well, see, you should really be blaming Radigan because he was totally Basil's daddy. Oh, yeah. Are you bilingual? Nope. I can barely speak English. Water, W-A-T-E-R, whatever alcohol is tasty and eases the ranting. Oh, you cracked my code. Shoot. Vera, don't you trust me? Me files a restraining order. Possibly the smart thing to do. Let's be honest, Sixth Doctor is a total sex symbol. That noble brow made me curve away from women. Okay, I need to jump over to the Discord real quick. So I'll be right back. Hold your questions. I'll be back. Okay. And usual plug reminder, Discord, the Council of Geeks Discord does exist. It is a Patreon supporter exclusive perk. So if you support me on Patreon at $2 or more, you get access to the Discord. Yay, we come join the fun. Let's see. Good job on the latest Two Bagful collab. Thank you. Any news on when the sequel Corona Shark versus Octovirus is coming out? November. Not a question, but I think we need nothing less than Pride Month in a time like this. You might say, well, why not Black History Month? Well, that would be good too, but with Pride Month, we show that everyone of any race, color, creed, and other sexual orientation is free to love each other. Nothing we need more these days than more inclusion with all people. I do agree, but like I said, part of my hesitation on doing a Pride theme is I don't want it to, I don't want it in any way to seem like I'm coming across as basically celebrating myself when so much crap is going on. And I hope I haven't done that too atrociously. But you don't have to point out that I have a big ego. I know I have a big ego. But I'm trying not to make too many things about me. Even though that's what my brain usually wants me to do. I've learned that a convention... Ooh, learned. I love that you wrote learned. I've learned that a convention I usually go to each year is reviewing whether or not they should allow police-themed cosplay. I understand why, given the current circumstance, but seeing as costumes like samurai and military are allowed, I do wonder if this is a little blinkered. Any thoughts on this? Well, so the thing is, you need to understand that the issue of police and police imagery is actually pretty specific to the police. I don't feel that it would be hypocritical, if that's your question, because the issues right now, and this is not to say there are not issues with other authority figures, like military, are samurai an ongoing concern? I don't think so. But you know, like military or government officials or whatever, is because the issues trying to be addressed right now are very specific to the relationship between the police and the members of the black population in this country. So it is very specific to the police. Now, the problems don't begin and end with the police. There's a lot of systemic stuff. There's a lot of stuff at all levels that needs work. It needs to be addressed. But the police is the very specific thing that is being highlighted and sort of drilled into and exposited on right now. So I don't, I get why they would consider doing that. And it's one of those situations where I would feel bad for the organizers of the convention because they're in a situation where either they allow that kind of cosplay and run the risk of confrontations on the floor, because intentional or not, someone choosing to dress as a cop with everything going on is going to be taken by some people as a show of support for police in a time when, you know, saying I support the cops means something different than it historically has. And at the same time, for them to not have it suddenly becomes a political statement, even if their only intention is to minimize any chance of confrontation on the floor. So I don't envy them having to make that call. What? Nathaniel not a Trump fan? I don't know how many are really left that are fans. Oh, there's some. I've got relatives and coworkers, and yeah. Also, are you looking to watch Da 5 Bloods? I think it was a great movie. It was pretty graphic at times. I'm debating that. I feel like I should and I would like to. I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the headspace to be able to digest it. So I don't know. I would like to watch it. I would like to be in a space where I'm okay to watch it. Let's see. So I'm back now in the main chat. What are your thoughts on Steven Spielberg's Hook? It's not a good movie, but I'm nostalgic for it. Torn between using super chats to check if you've had a chance to read my work and not wanting to create a system where you're incentivized not to. Oh. I need to go back and sort through my email. Because yours is not the only... You're not the only person who I said I would take a look at their work, and I haven't. I have a comic book sitting over there. I've got a novel in the library that was sent to me. You know, that you people, these are your works that you are sharing with me, and I want to take them in, but I'm not. I have a hard time being on top of my own stuff. You know, the stuff that I'm already planning on doing and trying to work other stuff into it. I wish I was better at this. I do, and yeah. I'm sorry. I will try and get to that. I'm so sorry. Where was I? Doctor Who has apparently had deconstructionist stories, but one example was Hellbent, supposedly. I want to see someone make the argument that Hellbent was deconstructionist, because I don't see it. I've also seen Midnight and Human Nature described as deconstructions. I'm not sure about Human Nature. Midnight, quite possibly, because it does deconstruct and take away the things that we take for granted about the Doctor in these situations where he's always able to talk his way out of it, and he convinces everyone that he's the good guy. So I'll buy Midnight as a deconstructionist Doctor Who piece. But I think what's key about why that works is it deconstructs the scenarios that the show Doctor Who usually gives us. It's not deconstructing the character and pulling him apart. It's pulling how well things tend to go for him. It's pulling the circumstances apart. So if you can properly sharpen the blade of deconstruction, so you're not just cutting a swath across the entire thing, yeah, you could probably get some decent stuff. Oh my god. I wish I was drunk and I could explain why I can't talk. Would you ever make a cocktail of putting Bertie Bott's every flavored bean and alcohol in alive? How much would you charge to take a shot? Make me an offer. There's a transgender companion being introduced in the new 8th Doctor audio played by Rebecca Root, who played the Doctor, not that one, in Last Christmas. Oh, that's cool. Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate that. Hope this doesn't sound turfy, but I'm always confused when people say they felt trans. How do I know what being cis male is supposed to feel like when I haven't experienced anything else in my life? Well, it's really difficult to explain. And it's a big part of what I'm about to go off for a while again, guys. So if you post more questions while I'm talking about this, I'm going to miss them. So this is part of why so many people, whether they themselves be trans in some flavor or not, they tend to latch onto the idea of dysphoria. Because for many trans people, dysphoria is the guideline because they feel wrong in their body. And that's still difficult to explain how that feels. But if you've ever had that sort of creeping notion of this isn't right, something isn't right, whether it be because you're in a place you haven't been before and just feel uncomfortable, or you've been stuck at a job for a while where you're like, this is crushing my soul, that kind of feeling, that kind of constant weight on you, but about your body, about your gender, that's kind of what dysphoria is. And it's why so many trans people sort of point to dysphoria as a reason for transition. I did a whole video talking about this on the Vera Wild channel, but I don't have dysphoria, not pronounced dysphoria, at any rate. To whatever extent I experience it at all, it's incredibly mild. But that's also why I didn't even consider transitioning in any way, shape, or form until my mid-30s. Because I didn't have a clear direction. And most people who say they felt trans, or if they were born male, they feel like a woman, or if they were trans men born female, they feel like a man. Most of the time they're talking about it was wrong where I was, and that everything about that felt wrong. Now I'm here and it feels right. For me, it's been much more roundabout, much less I'm wrong where I am, I have to find something else, and more like I'm okay where I am, but I feel like I can feel better about myself. But it is really hard, and there is, for me, interacting with me at least, there's no shame in saying I don't understand, because if you have never experienced doubt or questioning yourself about your gender, it's really hard for people who have experienced that to explain what it feels like. Because if you are cis male, you're born male, and you just are. It's not even that you felt male, you just are. Like, everything about this is fine. You've never even had to examine how you feel about your gender because you haven't had a reason to. That's not a criticism. I'm not saying like, you haven't thought about this, have you? Like, you had no need to. You had no reason. There was no reason or impetus for you to think about how it felt to be male, because there was no other way that you ever would have thought to be. So the fact that it's difficult for you to relate to that is understandable. And it's one of the big hurdles for trans people trying to sort of communicate our experience to cisgender people. And it's kind of the barriers of language. And you have to just kind of dip into your, whatever well of empathy you have available. And I kind of default to one of my favorite lines from my favorite Star Wars movie, which is the fourth one, Star Wars 4, I'm sorry, not Star Wars, Star Trek. Oh my God. It's not booze. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. And this is after, because Spock died in Star Trek 2, spoilers. Came back to life in Star Trek 3, spoilers. And in the fourth one, he's talking with Dr. McCoy, and Dr. McCoy tries to ask him what that was like. And what Spock says to him is, it will be impossible to discuss the topic without a common frame of reference. There's this pause, and McCoy goes, you mean I have to die to discuss your insight on death? But Spock's got it right. The experience that he had was so unique and so divorced from anything that he could relate it to that he really can't talk about it with McCoy. And I kind of feel like trying to explain what it feels like to be trans to someone who's cis is a little bit that thing too. But we also have to try and overcome it because we all have to live together, and trying to come to a better understanding is only a good thing. Thank you for responding. I understand it's taking you time. Thank you for understanding. I, Random Whovian, hereby declare the title of Precious Bean to Vera/Nathaniel. Witnessed by everyone here in the chat right now. Oh, thank you. Did you stop uploading Let's Plays because they didn't get as many views, or because you told us you hate Trump and you can't have heated gamer moments where you yell out slurs? See, the thing is, I need, not even I want, I need to finish Newfound Courage. and I will finish that as a Let's Play. The reason they stopped showing up on this channel was, yes, they got incredibly low views. I moved those videos to the break room, and it was my intention to finish that game and consider doing some others, but like, again, time. Never enough. It's been a tough 2 days. Someone who I really cared about and was my main person to talk to in quarantine blocked me and ghosted me. And you're here to cheer me up. Thanks. I'm glad I can help, and I also understand. I'm not going to get into specifics about any of this because it's not only my story to tell, and I don't want to cause drama, but just understand that I understand the feeling of somebody who you care about deciding to digitally, at least, cut you out of their lives in recent times. I get it. It's not fun. And it can wear on you. You're such an inspiration, a bright light in this crazy time. Oh my God, you people are so dang sweet. Vera, should I put that on the to-do list? Yeah, go ahead, Carolyn, add it on there. It's a long list, I'm sure it is. Carolyn keeps me in line on a lot of stuff. She's very good at keeping track of things. I'm still waiting for Helena Bonham Carter to make an appearance on Doctor Who. I would watch that. Riley wrote an article. Do you want me to send you a link? Yes, please. Missed that. See, that's the other thing. Like, on top of everything else, on top of all the stuff that I'm trying to watch, the games I want to play, the videos I want to make, like, I can't keep up with people's social media. I miss so much. It's nuts. Fun fact, the Supergirl TV show had the first ever live-action transgender superhero. Yes! I've seen that character, because I started Season 4. I skipped the second half of Season 3. It really wasn't working for me. I started Season 4. I need to go back on that and pick it up again. Let's see. Apparently the hybrid deconstructs lore arcs like the Timeless Child. Instead of giving us lore about the Doctor's origins, they did a metaphor instead. Metaphors, never heard of those. See, the thing is, I need... Can't believe I'm about to say this. I actually need to rewatch Hellbent to decide if that reading has any merit. Ugh. Appreciate your videos on Doctor Who and religion, but as a religious person, I can't imagine how I could respect religious traditions if I was born atheist. What gave you this respect? Being raised by somebody who taught me that she didn't know, I didn't know, nobody knows. Some people think they know and have their own beliefs, and they have a right to them. They have a right to not be treated badly because of them. That's always been my approach to religion. I don't know. It's not booze. They say as their speech is getting worse and worse as they drink more. Oh boy. It kind of is, isn't it? I feel like I'm drinking more, and I'm just doing it to like clear my throat, as if that's the problem. As if I'm like, no, I'm just saying stupidity. Interesting story for my drama exam. I did a play. Oh my God! I feel like I should be drinking. I'd probably be more articulate. I did a play called Things I Know to Be True. There's a trans character in it, and my friend who played him came out as gender fluid after. Oh. Aw. It wasn't in a play, it was just in a scene. In college, I did a scene from Angels in America, which is a play I don't love, to be honest, but I played a drag queen in that. And theater gives you the opportunity to try on some different hats in a controlled environment. And that can be helpful. Anyone here think the woman in Resolution who said Unit was gone kind of looked like James Charles? I don't know who that is, so I have no opinion. My cat meowed after you left, so I assume he said hello. Well, hello to the kitty. Favorite Mel Brooks movie, if they exist? Nostalgically, Spaceballs. Happy Pride Month. Was it either your stream or Alton Brown's live stream? I didn't know what to watch. Both good choices. Oh, I'm flattered to even be considered as an option versus that. People are saying really sweet things about you, so I'll give it a go. You're okay. What do you want from me? I'm British. Cheers, mate. Who would you cast in the Wicked movie? I have no idea. I just think they need to not make that. Thoughts on the Supreme Court ruling about LGBTQ plus discrimination being a civil rights issue and rectifying it? I mean, I talked about it at the start of the stream. It's such an important ruling. It's incredibly important foundation. But we need to now build on that foundation because there's a lot of other stuff to do. And obviously there's a lot of other issues going on as well. Am I the only one who always stays up at night thinking about how Ben McKenzie looks like Gene Wilder? I'm now picturing the red carpet scene in Willy Wonka. I don't know if you're the only one. I'm not one of those people. So I think I'm almost caught up. I'm probably misremembering the argument about Hellbent. If you're curious, I can link the blog they showed. Sure, if you want to. No promises that I'll read it. Psst. If they see the color of your water, just tell them it's from a canal. Cheeky. Fun fact, in Mr. Holmes, when he goes to see the movie, the actor who played him on screen is the same actor who played young Sherlock Holmes back in 1985. Oh, wow! I didn't even realize that. Aww. I guess I totes have new perspectives writing LGBTQ characters now, though I totes created them before I knew I was LGBTQ. It's funny, like, as you evolve to go back and look at, if you're a creative type person, go back and look at your earlier work and realize, oh, God, there's more signs I should have picked up on. Or you realize, oh God, I was really trying to not be what I am when I wrote this. Can go either way. This Vine sums up 2020. Dad, it's the good kush. It's the dollar store. How good could it be? I actually love Yaz saying, mate, I'm from Yorkshire, when replying to Graham. As a Yorkshireman myself, I completely get it. Okay, here's a pitch. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory plus Doctor Who equals money. Have you ever watched the movie Frequency? I've seen about half of it. I think it's one of those things that was like on TV, like back when I had normal TV coming into my house and I like caught part of it. But okay, I really do need to wrap it up. I'm the same for not noticing how depressed stories I used to write sound. I'm glad my stuff is more optimistic now. That is nice. Okay, that reminds me of a story I wrote when I was 12 where the main character was super gay and I just didn't realize. Douglas Adams in a Doctor Who episode. Ooh. So, it's funny. It was a couple years ago that I realized this. That virtually every piece of fiction I have ever written, very, like, almost none of which is viewable or published, but every short story, short play, the full-length play, the novel that I'm trying to wrap up, nearly everything is about people in transition, not like gender transition, but like the world or people either shifting from one state of being to another or caught in the middle between the two normally defined things. Every single piece I've ever wrote, with one exception that I can think of off the top of my head, every other piece that I've ever written is about that, thematically. And I realized that a couple years ago. I'm like, son of a... All right. I am going to wrap it up there. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this one. One day deep in the future, I'll pay you to review Ballad of Buster Scruggs and Power Rangers RPM. Whew. Well, I hope I live to see that day. Thanks for everybody who joined me. This went well. It's been a kind of day, so this was nice. This was a nice way to wrap things up. Oh, thank you, Randomness. As always, feel 5x5, laughed hard, run fast, be kind, and remember, take it sleazy. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you for my mods for keeping everything clean in the chats, and thank you to everyone who contributed, to everyone who was just here, who listened. Just thank you. And I hope you are well. Happy Pride. Be safe out there. And please remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I just run the meetings. Have a good night, guys. People. I still say guys. In my head, it's gender neutral. Still working on that years later.